Welcome back to the show. Well, have you ever heard of a workcation?
No.
It's been dubbed the next big travel trend.
It is very, very popular at the moment, Carlos, because it's giving employees the chance to take longer holidays and less leave. Here to explain is our resident travel expert, Quinton Long. Quinton, remote
Hey,
work
Quinton.
and travel? Sounds like a match made in heaven. How does it work?
Good morning, guys. Yes, it is a match made in heaven. It's a fantastic way for people to experience cultures, travel the world, but also work at the same time and not use up that valuable leave. And there's a lot of organisations now that are actually, helping staff do that. And I'll give you a couple of examples. Airbnb allows staff to work 90 days in a year from anywhere in the world. Obviously, they want them to use the Airbnb product to do that. Google, they allow staff to work from any office in the world for 4 weeks a year. Even Tourism Australia here in Australia, they allow their staff to work from any office in the world for 2 weeks a year. Great for staff morale, but also cohesion and all that sort of stuff.
Okay, so who'd be the best candidate for a workcation between Sarah and I?
Sarah, obviously. No, look, it comes down to what kind of role you do and all the considerations you have to make around that. So, for example, if you're a pilot, you can't actually do that from anywhere in the world. Think about things like time zones. When and where will you have to be actually working, and does that work for you? So, for example, if you're going to be in New York, you'll actually be up most of the night working. Is that the experience you're looking for? But if you wanted to, surf in Mexico, maybe great to surf during the day and then work during the night. So time zones becomes really important. Insurance and liability, look into it. Things like workers' compensation. You've got to also look at the setup, the infrastructure you have. Make sure it's quiet. You can do your work. You can do meetings, all those sorts of things.
Well, that absolutely has to be taken into consideration because you could be going somewhere overseas where there's very little coverage, I guess, and you can't really tap in on email or calls.
Absolutely. And it's not just the IT, Sarah, it's also the environment. Can you do meetings and all that sort of stuff? Make sure you've got a contingency plan as well, because if that falls over, you can't actually do your work, which is what you're there to do. And that becomes really problematic, and why some employers are giving their staff different contracts for that period of time where they're working from overseas.
Look, you have punched in for work, various exotic locations, on board ocean liners with just your banana hammocks on in the pool. You're able to do that in your particular role. Are there any international destinations you'd recommend?
Yeah, so there's a company called remote.org who did a massive survey and put out the top 100 cities for remote working in the world. Their top 5's really quite interesting. So places like Madrid in Spain, Madeira in Portugal, Toronto in Canada. But for Australians, number 4 and 5 were really interesting, which is Auckland and Japan. Amazing choices to sort of work from. Don't forget also that you can also work from domestic locations. So I'm in Melbourne. It's a bit cold and drizzly on the East Coast, not up in Port Douglas, right? So you could actually be working from a domestic location, same time zone, none of those hassles about insurance and things like that. Darwin is another great one I would love to work from, at this particular time of the year. The Tweed Valley between the Gold Coast and Byron, which is really accessible for from an airport point of view. So there's lots and lots of different places you can work from. The Bellarine here, if you're a fluviophile, that's my pretentious word for the day, fluviophile, someone who loves cold and drizzly weather, maybe Hobart would be a great place to work from this week as well.
Well, it looks like Melbourne's right up there on the fluviophile.
Fluviophile.
How do you spell that?
F-L-E-O-V-O-P-H-I-L-E, I think.
That's
But
what I
don't
thought.
quote me
Yeah,
on that.
that's what I thought. You like that sort of weather, though?
I don't mind it, yeah. The Bellarine Peninsula is beautiful all year round, I reckon.
If you're
Absolutely.
long-suffering.
And it's
I'll
got
go
such
there.
great
You can go
wineries
to
as
Port
well.
Douglas.
All right, done. Done. We've just sorted it for the next week.
All right, mate.
Good on you, Quinton.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Quinton.
We're following.
Hey there, Today fans. Sarah and...
What's my name again?
Oh my God, Carl.
Hey, thanks for watching our YouTube channel, though. Subscribe now for more news, special reports, and amazing Aussie stories.
And Carl misbehaving,
Whoa,
of course.
that never happens.
Always happens.
What's she talking about?
Always happens.